After a lengthy delay, Steins Gate Reboot has finally had its release date and release platforms publicly unveiled. It is set to simultaneously release in Japanese, English, and Chinese on Thursday, August 20th, 2026, just one day before the ever so significant August 21st in-story. And it will be launching on 6 different platforms. We already knew of the Steam release when they announced it many months back, but in terms of consoles, the game will be launching on the Switch 1 and Switch 2, PS4 and PS5, and also the Xbox Series X and Series S. For the Switch 1 and Switch 2, as well as PS5 ports, the game will be releasing physically with ultra-limited and limited editions containing a number of bonuses like a reboot art book and DVDs for the series soundtrack and One World Live event from 2024. The PS4 and Xbox ports, meanwhile, will be digital only. Now, quite notably, this release marks the first time since Occultic 9 in 2017 that we are getting a SciADV release on Xbox. And this is also the first time the series is releasing in English on the Xbox. Given the recent trajectory of mages as a company, I'm not too surprised about this. With the recent releases of Ogre Tale and Mr. Eat, they suddenly started doing Xbox releases again after almost a decade. And if there was one upcoming game for mages to launch for the Xbox, it was definitely Steins Gate Reboot. I'm happy to see the series return to the very platform on which it first began. What is a bit of a shock, however, is that as per info on the game's Japanese website, there will not be an English dub for Steins Gate Reboot. That, to me, is somewhat surprising. There's so many Steins Gate anime onlys out there who don't get into the visual novels because they don't have English dubs, and if there was one game they could have used to get that dub-only casual audience into the series, it was Steins Gate Reboot. This just seems like a huge waste of an opportunity to cash in on those fans. Now, Anonymous Code's English dub was very well done, but it's crazy to think that they made an English dub for AC, the grand culmination of the franchise with a crazy number of prerequisites, and yet aren't doing so for the game supposedly designed to draw in newcomers. Like, business-wise, Reboot is the game that it makes much more sense to have an English dub for. We haven't formally heard anything from Spike Chunsoft themselves as of yet, but for those of you who know, a few months back, they had asked us at Kitty Kitty Basara to conduct a survey and send them data regarding localization preferences for Reboot and SciADV. And as the survey results indicated, most of the core Western SciADV audience seemingly does not care very much about English dubs. That survey may or may not have factored into their localization decisions. But in any case, the digital versions of Reboot are launching at 6380 Japanese yen, which is roughly around $40 US. So they've seemingly opted to go the opposite direction of Anonymous Code, making a cheaper release without an English dub, rather than a more expensive release with one. Now, Mages also announced and revealed a ton of other details as well. One very peculiar new piece of information is that the Steins Gate subseries has sold over 4 million copies in its lifetime, which is quadruple the last sales figure we got back in December of 2015, which was 1 million copies. They kept using that 1 million sales figure in their advertising even for Anonymous Code's release in 2022, so for it to have actually sold 4 million is interesting to see. Very few visual novel series have sold more than that, so that makes the disparity between the popularity of Steins Gate and the rest of SciADV even sadder. How is it that despite Steins Gate's immense popularity and reception, that it amassed such a large audience of people who either do not know or do not care about it being the second part of a larger series? Feel free to watch The Paradox of Steins Gate's fanbase if you haven't already. In addition to the sales milestone, they unveiled the new cover art for the game, which I actually quite like. Both the regular edition cover and the limited edition cover look super clean, especially the limited edition one. That to me just looks breathtaking. In addition to the covers, they also newly unveiled several character sprites and CGs. From a character sprite standpoint, they newly unveiled the sprites for Nae and Dr. Nakabachi. Nakabachi looks like himself for the most part, but Nae notably has a fairly different color scheme to her appearance than in the original. It's amusing that they haven't revealed a sprite for Shido given his importance to the wider series lore, but Reboot's script is based on Steins Gate Elites, wherein he was almost completely cut from the story, so I can't be too surprised. On a separate note, Mages announced that Steins Gate Reboot is set to have 20% more background images and twice the number of CGs as the original. From everything just unveiled, I don't have any strong feelings about the new artwork. There's some CGs that look a little bit weird, like the one with Okabe staring at whoever happens to be observing him from the other side of the monitor. But others, like the brand new one of Suzuha and Braun, look fine to me. From the gameplay footage they've revealed, the game seems to look mostly okay in motion, but I still feel as though Reboot's art is a substantial visual downgrade from Anonymous Code and even the original Steins Gate. It lacks a lot of the charm and expressiveness behind the art of the original game, but there is one part of the visuals that we've seen that is quite intriguing. For the final part of this video, I want to go over the new opening, for which I will need to discuss full series spoilers up to and including Anonymous Code. As I'm sure you know, the opening song for Steins Gate Reboot is still Skyclad Observer, just like in the original game. However, the visuals are completely new, and with full series context, there's some truly fascinating details hidden in there. From load volumes to world layers to the game of life, the visuals are extremely Anonymous Code heavy in their motif. There's also so much monochrome imagery, as if this was being observed from beyond the load region. Even the character faces are obscured, like in Game Over from Anonymous Code. Such may suggest that there's more than meets the eye about the game. That being said, do the details we see suggest that Reboot will be a meta-sequel to Anonymous Code, like many of us had initially hypothesized? Given the cheaper price at which the game is launching and all the information previously provided in staff interviews, I wouldn't count on it being a meta-sequel in a way that is particularly interesting. The info they've given out is that Reboot script will largely be the same as Steins Gate Elites, but with one new ending. My hope is that whatever new content we do see in that additional route is significant to the point of being comparable to the Senna route from Chaos at Noah. All of the Anonymous Code related hints we've gotten to this point have me somewhat hopeful, but I'm going to keep my expectations low since this is Mages we're talking about. For all we know, the new content could be nothing more than a 1 hour long route to Romance Moeka, rather than something with drastic implications on our understanding of the overarching series narrative. I sure wish they went all in on making this a radically different story from the original, but let's wait to see how the game turns out when it finally does release later this year. With that in mind, thank you for watching. I'll keep you posted on whatever SciADV news may arise. To be honest, I was a little surprised that Mages would announce Reboot's release date before the live event at the end of the month, but in the end, they made their announcement to coincide with the release of Colopol's Q2 financial report. Now we just gotta wait until August 20th. I'll see you all around. Bossman out.